Hello, everybody. Yeah, so this was kind of like a surprise stream. So just wanted to go over a couple things because I did that stream the other day that involved the Go XLR, not the Go XLR, the Wave XLR that Elgato came out with. And I got like a question about it because I've been using it for streaming and I've been using it in StreamYard, in vMix, and also been using it in OBS. So in those three applications, they both have to be set up a little different, but that's not what this is going to be about. It's really just going to be about the basic settings of how to set it up to get it to function right in all three of those. And kind of, if you want to see something like that, where I go over like the StreamYard, the vMix, and then OBS is pretty much, you know, Elgato covered that base, but just let me know and I can go over that. But if you've never been here before, my name is John Ryan from Coffee Talk and Tech, and we do tutorials on different types of audio and camera and audio interfaces and stuff like that. So I just want to address a couple questions that I have gotten, because this has been kind of like a thing for me too, with trying to figure out how I can use these and make it work in all these applications, and is it being effective for what its intended purpose, which is to separate the audio coming in at different levels in my stream. So thanks for coming in. If you're here, let me just see who's here really quick just to say hi. I know here's Sammy. He's always coming in on the streams. How you doing, Sam? He says this seems like a great tune for the lunchtime stream. Thanks a lot. I got Dimebag Darren. How you doing? Thanks for coming in. Yep, I just want to go over these things because they are some of the things that have been questioned, and just simple PC settings, and then you can go from there and at least work it into the applications that you're using. So let me just get rolling, and I'll show you a couple little things and I'll come back and see who's around. All right, so quickly. Okay, let's go into showing you my screen here. Okay, so now I can go into basically just going into my PC settings. So I'm going to go into my control panel quick. We'll go into hardware and sound, and it's manage audio devices. Now, look, granted, this is what you're going to do after you download the software from Elgato. And so after that's installed and you know it's installed, you're going to have to set up your settings in your Windows. And so this is kind of like what I'm going from here. So I just want to go into the playback, which is where we are. And if you scroll down, you can see that we got the Wave Link system picked as the default device. Okay, so there's nothing else in here picked as the default or a backup or anything else. That's just all it is. Okay, so we got that set in playback. We go to recording. We see that we have the mic in as the default device. And then we have the Wave Link stream as default communications device. Now, just a little tip right off the bat, since we're right here at this point, this default communications device is what I use in StreamYard. So when it comes in as what I'm putting in as my mic, I would actually pick this default communications device, and that will take this whole ball of sound, which is my mic and all the sounds that are coming in from the background, and it will stream it right in as a whole. And then as a listening device in StreamYard, I pick my headphones. Now, granted, I just want to let you guys know, I monitor straight from the Wave XLR. Okay, so I'm plugged in right into the back. And so that is my default communications device. Okay, and then so basically everything else here is non-important to see, but just remember down here in your Windows settings that this matches up, right? This is my Wave Link system, and you want to make sure, because if you have multiple devices hooked up, you might be off with a couple things here. And not that you might not get conflicts in certain situations too. So really quick, also, I want to show you, okay, well, before I pop this up, let me show you what this is. So this is the Wavelink software right here, right? And we can go over a couple of these things that I picked here, but I just want to let you know, right next to this little system, whatever gear here, you have this, and this pops up your applications in Windows that are using any kind of sound. I just want to go over this really quick so you can kind of like see where I'm at, and this matches what you need. So the output is always going to be the Wavelink system. The input is the mic in. Okay, and then if you go through, I basically have the system sounds at default. I have the sound down because who wants to hear anything like that too loud? In Chrome, I use my Wavelink as the browser setting. Okay, so if we go here, we could see browser, and this would be my Chrome settings. Okay, and then if you go down, we see Mozilla Firefox. So what I did was I pulled in another browser, and I have it over here, and I use this browser just specifically for the music. So if I bring this up, you can hear the music, and that's playing just straight out of Firefox. So this the way it keeps it separate from if I want to pull up a video or anything like that, it would be separate from this sound, and it just makes things a lot easier. So that's where I am with that. And then I use Spotify as my music, and I have system in here, which means my whole system sounds are in here also. And if just take notice of this, if you go this route, which I recommend, because then you can hear what's outputting all the time, but you also might have to monitor and turn this off. See how there's an X here on that headphones? So you'll have to figure out, sometimes you hear yourself double in certain applications, and you don't need to hear yourself in this system settings. See if this makes sense, because this is already being monitored straight out of my Elgato right here, where I'm plugged in right in the back. This small unit right here, which is, if you just noticed, if I touch the top, it mutes. You could see it turn red. Just as simple as that. So that's a nice real little button to when you're coughing or you just need some mute really fast. But I'm plugged in right into the back, so I'm monitoring right from the unit itself. And then this is my sound effects, which I have going through my Stream Deck. And this is my mic right here. Okay, so just one little tip, because if you've seen any of the things I've been doing with the mic in general, is I kind of went through most of these settings and kind of what they do, but one important thing I just wanted to show you again, just so people don't forget, the wave gain lock, okay? Just make sure you got that clicked off when you're playing with everything, just because when that's clicked off, it doesn't let any other applications come in and take over your gain. Because this is software and there's other applications that are always wanting your mic volumes and etc. That locking that system just makes sure that the wave is in full control of everything all the time. So so that's how I have this set up across the board. And then down here is what you actually hear going straight out to the stream. So this would be my monitor mix. And the reason you have a monitor mix here is because all these submixes, they have an offset in here that you can set for your system settings. So see how I click this and it links it and it delinks it? Well, that lets me, once I delink it, it can give you a different sound in your headphones. So that's good for different applications like Discord, if you want your Discord to be louder in your headphone than it is in your stream, and etc. So same with music. Maybe you want your music at a different sound in your ears versus out to the stream. And then if you just want to lock that offset or not have an offset, you could set it back, and then you could just click it right here, and that would lock that offset also. So these are important things in here to take a look at and make sure that they all match up with what you're trying to do. But let me go over and see if there's any questions over here of any sort about what is going on here. So let me just take a look. Or we just have people saying hello along the way too. So we have Darren, and he's saying, this will be interesting if you have this mic. I do not. So I'm going to bow out for now. That's fine. Yeah, it's not the mic, right? It's the audio interface. And so this is something that like a lot of people probably don't have in their hands right away. So when they get it, there's this learning curve of trying to figure it all out. And this will allow it to be a little bit easier to figure out. So, those are the reasons why. So, hey, how you doing? Long time no see. I'm always on, so I love when anybody new stops by. So I appreciate you stopping in. This is a little bit earlier than usual, so it's nice to see people in different areas coming in and checking things out. Art, thanks for stopping in. I'm just doing a quick stream just to cover some bases on this, and hopefully some people do see about how it's being used and how in StreamYard versus how you use it in vMix and how you might use it in OBS. So OBS, it comes with instructions from Elgato pretty much to how to use it in OBS. And that, that's super useful because a majority of people will probably be using it in OBS. But as far as me, I didn't know anybody that was using it in vMix. So me and another buddy, my co-host, you guys know possibly, is J.A. Smith, and it took us together 5 hours to figure out exactly how to pull everything in. And then you think it would be easy after you're done, but it was a task to figure it all out because we're so used to pulling in a mic and then pulling in your audio interface as a separate application. And what you're really looking to do is pull in this like whole ball of wax of sound, right? Where everything's kind of included. And then we make the separation and everything right in the Elgato software. So if I had to adjust my mic gain or anything, it would be out of here. And then I would watch those results in the software applications I'm using, like OBS or vMix or StreamYard or Ecamm for that matter. So there's a learning curve. And so these are the things that I go through trying to explain them. So Martin, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I always catch you when I jump on early for a stream and we're just chatting and having a good time. This is basically the Wave XLR, just going through a couple of the settings. So this way people can pretty much like find the baseline and then go from there with the stream. And it kind of helps out. So, I hope this helps a few people to get that baseline and then go from there. Patrick Chang, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Are you back from California? I hope you are coming back soon and you're going to have a safe trip, that's for sure. So I'm looking forward to hearing back and seeing your weekly streams. So yeah, so basically those things that I have set up in this system have worked for me in every application so far. So that was like the main thing I wanted to really take a look at and show people. And I'm kind of happy that it's been working the way I want. So how you doing, Patrick Chang? Thank you. Thank you. You're coming back? Oh, you're back already. Okay, good. So maybe a stream tonight or no? Just curious because I'm actually leaving to go away for a few days with the family. So, but since I had the stream on Thursday, I just had a couple people ask me kind of like what I was doing exactly to make it work in every application. So if that's like something that comes up, I can go and stream about it again. But what I wanted to do here was just give that baseline that people can work off of. And if they figure it out, that's great. But if they're struggling, then I can come back. I could do another stream and just show you like in vMix, in StreamYard, and kind of like stuff like that. So here's Tom Buck. Thanks, Tom. I mean, what do you guys live and breathe, YouTube, don't you? Because listen, I know how it feels. I'm kind of like always doing the same too. I love to see people's streams. I jump in all the time. But thanks for checking me out. Just checking. You saw Thursday I went over the Wave XLR, and there's a lot of questions about it because it's kind of weird, right? Because we have no physical things to really touch on your desk to make things change. It's all in the software, which we're gonna go over that soon, and we're gonna discuss about a physical thing that will be on the desk that will connect to this Wave XLR, and that's gonna be in the works. I'm just waiting for the item to get here, and then that will probably be something that a majority of people will be using, and we'll see how that works and plays all together. But I'm just really happy because besides the Go XLR, this system has been really like the only big thing to make the separation in all the music and pulling things and different sounds in the way I want them to work. And if you've used StreamYard before, you know that sound isn't exactly totally controllable in there. And having this system has made that a lot better. And now using it in vMix and how we want to use it. And I must say that most things are working pretty good all the way around. So Sammy says hi to Tom. Where am I going? I'm going out to Pennsylvania. We're not doing too much too crazy, you know, right now. It's a little crazy out there. So I just think that staying close to home would be easy. No big trips this year, and hopefully next year we're going to do something that will be kind of fun. But Patrick says that he's resting. So you must have just gotten home this weekend, and then you're streaming next Sunday. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That is cool. But yeah, I mean, so far, so good with having everything kind of work in this whole system. So I'm pretty happy about it, you know, is in general. So I just see that like every time I put something up about the Wave XLR, it just it gets a lot of interest, and because I think people are trying to figure out how to use it in different applications, because it's not like so clear cut. You know, you get an audio interface, a basic one, you plug it in USB, you plug your mic in, you pull your mic in. They're not like, most people aren't used to routing their different sounds, you know, to different locations, and so I think it can be a little confusing for most people. Well, Sammy, if you're really close to me, then yes, Pennsylvania's really close to you. So yeah, just head west, my friend, right? And we run right into Pennsylvania. So we know that. And then he says, I got the audio working with the drums without the mixer. Okay, cool. So that could cut out some little bit of stress for you, right? But even just to show people, this is what's like great. I could, you know, in the Stream Deck right now, and I basically can go into my system sound settings, and we could just like see that right here. I could just go and hit any of these things like the photo shoot, and you could hear the camera going off, and I can adjust those things right in my software, because that would be my sound effects setting. So if I was to go in here and pump this up a little bit, I would just go and hit this again. You can hear it's a little louder, and that would be my sound effects settings right there. And then if I wanted to with this sound, of course, then I showed you it would be this browser. And this was an idea that Jay had, was like simple for me to use, which is really just go right to Firefox instead of just using my Chrome, and then have a separate browser, and that could just control the music. This way, if I have a playlist set up, then I just hit the playlist, let it play, and I don't have to keep on going in and out of that browser really too much, which is kind of fun, and I can just adjust it right here. But like what I'm talking about, and we've talked about, I would like to have this physical, you know, adjustability right on my desktop. So those are the things that I would like to have right on my desktop, just to make things a little bit easier, and then we'll see where that goes. I think that's going to be coming soon. But if you guys haven't had a chance to really look over this Wave, I would say go take a look at it, see if it's something that will work for you. I mean, this is the unit itself. It's pretty nifty. It doesn't do everything it needs to do for everybody, but if you toggle this big button, which is you just push it in, it can change, and it could go through your input gain for your mic. It can adjust your output volume for your headphones. And then if you push it one more time, so each time you push it, this little light lights up in front of it. And then you got your crossfade between your mix and your PC, which that means is that you can either hear yourself out of your mic 100%, or you can bring it to 50% and you can hear your mic and you could hear what's going out to the stream. So if you go and slide it all the other way, you'll hear exactly what's going out to the stream. And that's what's always good, because it will help you get used to of what you're outputting to your stream, because that's the thing that's the hardest sometimes, is knowing if you're outputting things to your stream that are too loud or too quiet, for that matter. And then of course over here you have your little light for your 48 volts. And this is what I was showing you on top, which is you just touch this mute button and basically that will just shut down. And you can, like, use it as a cough button or whatever you need it to be. And then you have one XLR input, and then you have a 3.5 millimeter jack for your headphones in the back. And then you just simply have a USB-C device plug in right here. And so that's all it has. And but it's where it's really effective, because people are like, it doesn't have enough outputs and inputs, and like, yeah, you don't have, like, to do a 2 PC setup and use this is not super effective, because you don't have a line out, you don't have 2 XLRs, you can't connect your speakers to it, and I can't even run my JBL, so I use my Motu M2 for this. But listen, if you're streaming, and this is where it's important, because, like, unless you're streaming, did you ever find out, like, that the Stream Deck all of a sudden becomes, like, really important when you're streaming? Like, I used to ask people, what do you use the Stream Deck for if you're not streaming? And you know what they were using it for? They were using it for, like, simple things of just turning up their volume in their system and turning it down. And I was like, okay. So then when you start streaming, you find out right away that you can use this in so many different ways, so there you go. You find out how important a Stream Deck is. And it's kind of like the same thing with this. You kind of find out how important it is to have this wavelength system, the Wave XLR, when you're streaming, how it just separates the music. It's really useful. So of course it's very close to Patrick. He's in Philly to begin with. And yeah, there should be a coffee talk and tech meetup. I mean, that's in the works, Sammy. We're gonna get to that point one time. Yeah, I think just when everybody's comfortable meeting up, and we're connecting more and more with people in these areas of Philly, Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey. I'm gonna make that happen. I'm definitely going to make that happen, because not only is it awesome, like, we're meeting each other online and we're all connecting, but it would just be incredibly awesome to meet people face to face and talk to them and shake their hand, right? So I think that would be very inspiring for everybody in general. The Wave looks like similar to my Audient Evo. That's exactly what I thought right off the bat, Patrick. I thought there was a connection right there with them, but then I found out it wasn't them that made the connection. So, but who knows? Like, these companies, they're all selling parts and bits to each other. So they all could be working in the background, with Lewitt and other companies making these kinds of things all the time. So, John, the other night I thought of a way to use your Canon M50 Mark II with the ATEM and capture card, so then you can have more control. So more control, what do I need more control for, Sammy? So that's what I want to know. ATEM capture card, so then you can, oh, you mean more control as far as layering my cameras. This is what we're talking about last night a little bit. So just to let you know, Sammy, what I did do was I pulled my main camera off of my ATEM, right? This main scene right here. I put it on in the Elgato Cam Link by itself. So then I could take this picture and I could overlay it onto the anywhere I wanted to on any other input on the ATEM Mini. And I thought I liked that in the beginning, but I didn't fall in love with it. So I just decided that I didn't want to do that because it just didn't, it worked. It worked totally because it let me take that Cam Link input and drag it all over anywhere I wanted on the screen. And it's funny that, you thought of this and I tried that already. And yeah, it absolutely does work. It's a go around, but it's not like something I'm totally in love with. So that's the only reason I think like down the road, the Cam Link Pro would be something I would be kind of into, So this way, like if I wanted to show you a second input, I could just literally, I don't have to switch to it. I could just actually take this picture right here and I could layer it right over the top of me here and vice versa. It's kind of selfish. I get it. It's like, you don't really need it. It's kind of like overdone, but it kind of works. Jeffrey needs to be in town when this happens. I would hope so. But you know what? Since we kind of all live kind of close, it wouldn't be a bad thing for all of us to just do it anyway and meet up. And maybe it's something that we should do maybe 3 or 4 times a year, because I think it's just really good because I don't think anyone else can relate to a content creator who's starting out and struggling with a lot of types of different aspects in the whole, YouTubing thing. And then we could actually get together, have some fun. We could talk about each other's, struggles and literally, see if we have different ways to attack these situations and better ourselves with it. And then also it will draw everybody closer together. And, sometimes that's what you need. You need to have people that are in your call list to say, hey, I need some help with this. I got you. And we're developing that kind of situation now in a lot of different ways with the people that we're associating with. So Sammy says, I have a device that you can take your Canon into 2 camera inputs. Okay, so but are you still toggling them or are you separating and having them run at the same time? So if I go to have a separation on one, if I go and have that on input 1 on the ATEM, then I switch to 2. The thing is that separation goes to 2 also. So it's just a copy. You know what I mean? So what I need is I need a constant input 1 to be available. So that's why the Cam Link separate made the sense, where it's constantly would be a separate input of me. And it, like I said, it worked, but it's not like something that's perfect. It's kind of fumbly, and then it kind of like doesn't make sense to do that with the ATEM, because the whole point is the simplicity and how effective, and it never freezes. It never gives me a problem. And it's just that easy to go right through to, different inputs. And then the same thing that I explained to a lot of people is that you just don't have to have cameras on here, right? This is my screen 1 as my 3rd input on my ATEM. So I just push my 3rd input and that shows this screen. Now, do I need that with vMix? Well, not so much, because I could just do a, NDI input of each monitor for that matter. So it depends what you need. Yeah, well, Jeffrey's going to be looking at some New York gigs, that's for sure. So that's why he might just do it. He's not that far away to begin with. So that could be a possibility. So, and then, we get Steve coming down from Canada, and then we just got people. It's going to be like an international convention at that point. So Steve, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. I'm streaming early. I was just going over some of the things that you can set up with the Wave XLR because I don't think I looked for a video for just a basic setup in Windows and it stops with the download. So it just goes into the download and it says, okay, now you're ready to use your Wave XLR. And it had like nothing going on as far as the actual settings in your systems. And so I kind of just did a video on that to see if it would help out, anybody at that point. So, oh, you're in Atlanta? I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought you were up north. So that's kind of good to know. We can always do something at some point down south too, someday, It's not that far away. My wife actually we've been wanting to go to Savannah, Georgia for the last couple of years. But going south is not exactly the best idea right now. So the device is one input and two outputs with HDMI. Okay, but what I'm saying is, right, when you usually do that, it doesn't separate the number two output. So what I'm saying is it's just a copy of input one always. So what I'm saying is now if I go and have that hooked up to, it's just going to replicate whatever input one. It may separate it. So what I'm saying is that may be great for like a monitoring, something, but it's not going to separate the two outputs and make them two different things because that's what it needs to do to be effective for me. But we could do a tour. We could do we could do the Coffee Talk and Tech tour where I just like hand out and they're like, who the heck is this guy? And why is he handing out coffee cups and t-shirts? And like, where is he from? I mean, I like the name, but I don't even know who he is. That's what people say. That will be my logo. You don't know who I am, but maybe someday you will. I don't know. Something like that. It could be something like that. But yeah, I don't know, Sammy, but I could mess with it and try it. That's for sure. Well, Sammy, I just found out that last week my dad is actually moving to Japan in 3 months. So now he's been playing and touring Japan since like the early 90s, I believe. But yeah, he's going to be there for good at this point. And so that's going to be a little bit different in general. But, he's going to be 71 and he's retired. So it would be nice for him in general too. But yeah, no, I'm not kidding. He's moving to Japan. That's where he's going. Yep. He's lived out there for a couple years. He was in Taipan for a year in Taiwan, and then he moved out to Japan. And this, I believe, was, I think late 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, like 97-ish and 98-ish, I believe. And he knows a lot of people out there from music and from business. And then it's my stepmom is Japanese, so they're going to be moving out there as her family has land out there, and they own a green tea farm on an island. So kind of cool. We could do the Japan tour. Wow. I would love to go. I'd like to go to a lot of places if it didn't cost like thousands of dollars. That would be kind of cool, Sammy, if I can make that happen one day. I don't know how easy that would be for him, because then pulling in the music. I actually wanted to do that before he goes. So maybe in the next 3 months when we're talking about that, maybe I could set something up with that and make that happen. Because that's exactly the reason why I got the Motu, was because the extra, inputs I could have for guitar, and I was going to have him play guitar here because I thought it would be awesome to record that. And so that would be kind of cool. Maybe we'll do that. We'll have the drum and guitar night. Who knows? That would be kind of cool. But poster up in your town about the channel. Right. Just put channel like I'm already like people are like, who is this guy? I go into my local Facebook groups and my wife does, I do. I drop my stream in there and ask people if they want to stop in because they can ask questions about streaming and how effective it could be for business. Which I think it's like it hasn't even touched the tip of the iceberg at this point, what people could use streaming for. So I'm like very excited to tell people these types of things, like just streaming to your Facebook groups because you can kind of like center in on certain groups. And if you're a local business and you're hitting local Facebook groups, I mean, what's more direct than that? So I've been trying to, point that out to people that you could have a simple phone setup with a basic USB mic on your, computer. Use StreamYard if you even want to, and you could just go streaming out to your Facebook groups. And I think it's so underrated and underutilized. I think it's just if people knew how much it could do. So, because I think it's a great idea, but and then add a little bit of coffee talk to your tech talk, right? This is like, see, this is what's great is that for how many times do you guys never get to see me drinking coffee? Because it's usually too late, guys, right? So I'm actually drinking coffee. Posters, I love that idea. Forget social media. Let's go old school, right? Wouldn't that be funny? CTNT coffee talk, and then I just like make a bunch of coffee. People come out and hang out, and we talk tech, and then we just have a morning show. Yeah, I know, Sammy, you're absolutely right. And that is going to happen, I believe. I think I'm going to do something on a Saturday or a Sunday at the right time, probably pretty early. And I think that's going to happen after the summer. I think it's a great idea to do that. Just to be able to hit people in different time zones and to actually see me drink coffee, right? Out of my own coffee cups, which are upstairs. I know. I could have used my coffee cup with my name on it, but I didn't because I like this bigger one too. So I needed the extra coffee. I am starting a stream for the educational publisher I work for next week. Okay. It's going to be your personal stream, and just make sure you let us know. And so next month, you're saying, okay, so let us know and keep us informed. And if you want us to watch anything or have any feedback or check you out, just let us know for sure. Definitely. That would be great. I tried to, listen, guys, I don't know if you know, I may rank maybe like number two to Sammy, but I try to get around to a lot of the streams and watch because I learn a lot by everything that I'm watching. I like to be there and support the people that I care about, and first and foremost, to me, it's just I'm really passionate about streaming, and I love to see and pick up any kind of nuances of anything that someone's doing. So, like a month ago or two, I wouldn't even have like this area lit up as much as I do right now. And so a lot of times I see different looks and different vibes. And sometimes it's kind of cool to come off a little bit different. So if we're doing our stream with me and Jeff, or Jeff and I like the background maybe a little darker color and stuff like this. But if you're just doing like some kind of educational thing and you're showing people your screen and going through a couple things, I like it a little bit lighter. It just looks more presentable for what you're trying to do. That's my personal opinion. But I mean, everybody's different. They, not always. So have you seen the movie Sing? How they got the word out about singing contest. I don't know if I have or not. I can't even remember what movies I watch half of the time. Like 10 a.m. to Sammy, I'm actually thinking about even going earlier. I was thinking like 8 a.m. So maybe even 7. Just because I don't know. Just because I think there's a lot of people like in the other direction in Europe and India and Indonesia and Philippines that I could catch a different market. Whereas if I'm going 9 o'clock at night here on a Thursday, the people out in the West Coast are catching me, and that's not really too much of a, big difference for them, and it's actually, effective for them, but it's never really that effective for the people on the other side of the world. So I wanted to try something that was a little bit different. So if I do something here at 7 a.m., it's only 7, p.m. out and towards Indonesia, Philippines, and stuff like that. So, yeah, well, of course, we see a lot of each other in a lot of streams, right, Sammy? If I'm running into anybody the most, it's you and Mr. Camera Drunkie, that's for sure. So, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, let us know. And if we can be of any help or just watch and take it in, then that would be perfect. It's going to be on YouTube, Steve. Let me know if it's on YouTube too, because I'm subscribed to you. So yeah, Sammy Superstar is everywhere. That's for sure. So that's for sure. You shouldn't say any of us someone that you watch. I don't know. I don't know. I missed that. Oh, what is your favorite streamer that is not Tom and Heather? I don't. I really don't have favorites because just because they're I have like favorites in groups. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to like different things that I want to listen to, then those are the people I might go to. But to be honest with you, even if it's like the same genre, I'll go and listen to them just because I like them. And nobody knows everything. And I keep on telling everybody this. And that's why, like, even if it's the same thing, I like to go and talk to people and they might tell me something new about something that I didn't catch. So that's what's important to me. Kombucha, how you doing? Thank you so much for stopping in and saying hi. I just went over a couple things on the Wave XLR, and now we're just kind of like shooting the breeze. It's kind of like a cool thing, the Wave, and I'm really happy with it. And it's not like absolutely perfect, but for streaming, it can be very effective. And so I came on, did a quick stream, and then you know how it is. Like you just end up talking about all kinds of stuff. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, I had a feeling that we watched that movie, right, Danielle? So I remember Sing for some reason, and I probably only remember parts of it because I was probably watching streams also too. So who knows? Yeah, okay, so you're going to be on YouTube and Facebook. Good, Steve. That's good to know. Thank you. And then, so this is a new thing too. You guys see this Nightbot popping up. That was something that was told to me, and I was basically set this up. Tom Buck told me about this, and then I've been using it to just automatically drop in some things for like buy me a coffee or my my t-shirts and my coffee cups, just for some merch and stuff. Yeah, I'll watch the replay. I'm not sure what the XLR is. So an XLR mic, right, is just the input of a different type of mic instead of like a USB. And then the Wave came out with something called, because they had the Wavelink system, right? So the Wave 3, and that's all USB based. So about 2 weeks ago, Elgato came out with the Wave XLR, and you're using that Wavelink software. And this is the Wave Link right here. And so it's this tiny little thing that's about the size of this Stream Deck. And so I was using the true and trusty, the Rodecaster Pro, which, I do love for a lot of reasons. And there's so many things that people don't talk about that this can do, but I wanted to free up some stuff because a lot of the things I don't use on here are things like the podcasting capabilities. But we can go on and on about some of that things that I love and don't love. But there aren't too many things that I don't love about it. But I just wanted to free up some room, and I wanted to see how effective this Wave XLR was for streaming. And I must admit that very happy so far of what the capabilities are with it. So we're going to go from there and keep on learning it. I usually watch live stream pros in the afternoon. Then after that, Tom streams, and then Heather around that time. And then you and Jeffrey. That's the weekly ones that I see. Wow. Well, what really stinks for me is that when Tom and Heather are on, that is a very tough time for me where I can't really talk too much in their streams when it's 4 o'clock Eastern time because I'm actually coming home in the car. And there's weeks that I drive and there's weeks that I don't drive, and I can be more interactive, but it's a tough time for me to participate, but I do listen to what's going on. So that's what I try to do. Yeah. And so yeah, and then we see each other in everybody else's streams. Like if it's D Niman, Nick Niman, Daniel Patel, right? We see each other, which is, those are great guys to listen to. Roberto Blake is another guy that I like to listen to on some live streams, especially on his other podcast channel, his small channel, where he talks about some things in more in depth, which is what I really like. Nick, at this point, there's a lot of repetition of what he said. So and that's what's great about Nick. And what I learned by watching Nick is that there's always going to be people coming into YouTube. There's always going to be people starting a new channel. There's always going to be people starting to stream. And so I thought to myself, like, I looked at it and I said, well, Nick goes through like the same things every week. He has to give the same advice to people, and he's just very humble about it. He takes his time and he explains things, but he's explaining the same things a lot of times. But the thing is, the information needs to get out there because there's just new people coming onto the platform all the time. And then I realized that, okay, well, it's the same for me. Like if you're going to talk to somebody about how to start streaming, it's going to be the same for me. We're going to go through the different, the levels of the streaming, and starting with StreamYard perhaps, or Restream, and then going to, a OBS, and you're going to have that conversation 50 times, in a month. So, but people need the information still, and they're still learning. And then it's like this technology is so new, there's new information, and those types of platforms are changing all the time also. So yeah, so there's always room for people. And that's why I started niching down to the fact of helping new streamers and YouTubers, because at some point I'm not that new anymore. And the rate of hours that I'm spending streaming and diving into the YouTube, it's a vast amount in a short time. And so I think my learning curve has, speed has increased in the, projection. And so I think that I can definitely help people on the tech side, especially. I'm not saying I could help everybody, learn everything about YouTube, but the more I learn, the more beneficial it is, because I can tie all those things in. So it's not just the tech things. It's also perhaps putting your thumbnails together, or talking about looking at your analytics and stuff like that. So, and then yes, I'm sleeping when Nick streams. Yeah, I am too sometimes. But if I can catch him, I like to jump on there because he's got a lot of good info. And since things do always turn around and something new happens, and I still like to catch it no matter what. Because even though I said like he says a lot of the same stuff, there's also like this information's changing, every couple months. And so there's new information coming out, new ways to look at things. YouTube is changing, some of their ways of how they operate and do things. And so you can gain a lot of knowledge just keeping up on the topics and not getting left behind with those things. But those are the main things that, the main people I watch. And then, of course, Daniel Patel, he's entertaining. I think he's a great, character to watch. And you could pick up on some of the cues of how they, attack their streams, how they look at things, how even like when people are talking to their streams, and you notice that they'll talk for a bit, and they'll go through a few things, and then they'll go over and take a look and see if there are questions or comments that are important. Because I do see a lot of people where they're literally 20 minutes behind in their, comments, and don't have a ton of people. Say if they have, 15, 20 people, they should be keeping up somewhat with those questions. Because I think that, and I'm not like being a hypocrite of, or pointing something out. I think it's important because people don't want to wait 20 minutes for you to catch up on what's going on in the stream. So I think the interaction being as close to live is so much more engaging for everybody. And so I just want to point that out, because it is a big deal for that person. And me going on vMix now, I could see like how fast everything comes in with the ultra low latency settings. And basically within literally seconds, I could see your things popping up and I could react to them. So, and well, of course, we know that from your stream that's true. Sammy, Daniel has the best hair. So, and then he said, remember when Daniel had 100 subscribers? Do you really? And so I can believe that because I see all these things that we see happening, and I've seen like people like Annie Dubé, right? Or other people that started last year, or a Tom Buck. And these people have gained tremendous amount of subscribers, and it's due to, timing, their hard work, and learning everything there takes to coming into YouTube. And so, there's a lot of different factors, and you got to take advantage of all those. Even like taking advantage of a video that takes off. A lot of times I didn't know, like when I saw the signs right away of something taking off, like I could have jumped on something and threw another video behind it pretty quick, and hopefully it could have played off each other. But those are things that, listen, I'm like a year in, not even, and it's like these are the things that you learn. It happens by doing and learning. So that's just the way it is. Art says, so what's super cool about tech versus other industries when teaching is there's always new tech and advances. I teach CPR, love it, definitely super repetitive. Yeah, so I've taken CPR numerous times throughout the years, and I've seen the techniques and change, right? It went from, one compression and so many breaths, and now it's like 10 compressions to one breath, and these techniques change, and keeping up with it is part of anything that's in, things change. Things are always going to advance, and new ideas, and tech is like that times 100, right? So I try to tell people everything, like even when you're buying a PC. I built this PC a year ago. Okay, new Ryzen chips came out, the CPUs. I'm not going to buy any of those. I don't need a 10 to 20% increase in my CPU power at this time. I mean, vMix is using a total of 7% of my CPU right now with 30 inputs and streaming out. So it's like, I'm not going to make a change of my CPU until I have about a 50% increase at that point. And so that would be a little bit longer. And so these are the kind of things, like if you could tell people these types of things, it could save them money, time, or I'll give you just a small example. When building your your PC from new, picking the motherboard that can potentially take as many more generations ahead of CPUs is a huge advantage. So if you could spend a little bit more for a motherboard now, it could actually really increase the productivity of that PC by years down the road. Because just like look at now, where I could throw in the faster M.2 drives. You can use, faster memory. You can use 2 generations down of CPUs. And so those types of things make a big difference when you're talking technology. And the same goes for cameras and such. It's like, what do you need now? What can you kind of see you're needing in the near future? And what is like, what is your budget? Because even what you need and what your budget is really changes people's perspectives on everything. That's a fact. So, and then people realize all these things, like, listen, I hear Doc Rock talk, that if you can stream in 4K, that you should just do it, because 5 years down the road, you're going to have all these videos that are 4K, and it's going to be a plus. Do I think it's like absolutely needed? I don't think he does either, but he's saying if you can. because even when you do a simple punch in, you can really see the degradation in a 1080p video. Like, for example, I'm going to show you right now. I'm punched in right now digitally on this, and you could see the clarity is not as clear, right, as it would be with this picture. So I think that's what he's saying. So, but the thing is, how many times I'm going to be punching in like that? Really, I'm just using this punch in for, fun at this point, just to make like these kind of eyes like I'm surprised. And so it's not super clear, but it's super usable. But listen, hey, I would like to be able to do everything 4K down the road too, I have a photo of me and Daniel. I think met D and Nick, but don't have any photos of me and them. Yeah, and you don't have any photos of me either, because that would be kind of fun, because I'd have you next to me, and I'm like 265 pounds, 6 foot tall, and then you next to me, and then we could go and put like our fists next to each other, like we're gonna be like fighting in the UFC or something, or not, or we could not do that. I don't know. It's up to you. But yeah, so I really just wanted to come on here and just talk about the Wave for a little bit, because I know it's popular. I've just seen it happening where when I put the couple topics up of the Wave, there are definitely more people looking at those videos, and a little bit of information goes a long way. And to be really honest with you, I was looking for this particular information myself, and I couldn't find it. So it really helped me in that way to do that. So can't stay, but I wanted to drop in and say hello. Well, I really appreciate that, observantly. Thanks for stopping in. It's kind of like just a quick last minute stream anyway. So we're done talking about what we were talking about. And we're kind of just like shooting the bull, kind of like what we do on a lot of streams. So I appreciate you stopping in and saying hi nonetheless. So I appreciate that. So, and then more and more, you're going to be seeing me doing different types of things in vMix, and using vMix more and more and getting better at it. And I'm pretty happy with it overall. So if there's no other questions out there, or no one's like coming in to ask anything, or if there's anybody out there that would like to pop in and just say, hi, I'm watching from so-and-so, I would love that. I always love new questions. Even if it doesn't pertain to this, you can come in and say hello, and that would be okay. If it doesn't pertain to this and it's a camera question, an audio interface question, anything that is tech, if I can help you, I will. Since we're here, that would not be a problem. So let me know if there is anything that I could help you with. But I just jumped on here because this was the Wave XLR, and basically I've been using it in many different applications, and so I wanted to let people know what my settings were, because at least you have a baseline, and that's what I'm going back to. You got a baseline, you can work it from there, and it will help you out. So Samantha, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. It's nice to see everybody on a Sunday. It's unusual, right, to see people on a Sunday and just chilling and having a good time. Yeah, so let me see. Art's asking something here. How about a vMix versus OBS for a StreamYard video? Actually, we kind of went over a little bit of that in a stream about maybe 2 months ago, and that's not something that I wouldn't address again, because it is a very popular thing to talk about, and there's definitely advantages of all of them, and there's always new people dropping in streams. But yeah, those are big things, right? And so I think, right off the bat, you would know that StreamYard just lets you be able to stream without the most overhead and stress and involvement of tech. And then, you go a step beyond that, then the ball starts rolling of how much you can learn. But, I just want to point out, like right here, you have Inspirational Connection TV. It was only months ago that she started using OBS, and she's teaching herself everything about it. And then she's learned along the way of how to get better and better. So she just used StreamYard for the first time, and I saw that, And she's saying, can you talk about audio for StreamYard? You know, I use the Blue Yeti. And so that's the thing. Like, when you used, when you were in StreamYard, it should have been as simple as you going from your, it should have been easy for you to use it because you would set up a virtual cam, and that would be your camera that you would set up in StreamYard. Then that would pull into StreamYard, and anything that you showed in OBS would show in StreamYard. And then you should have picked your Blue Yeti as your mic. Now, the only thing that I could say can be confusing is if you're in your separate scenes and you didn't add your Blue Yeti to scenes, then you're going to lose your mic in StreamYard. So those are the types of things that start to get a little tricky because because I've seen it happen to you when you were streaming, is when you first started adding scenes, it was a little confusing, and it was confusing for me too. So that's why there's a whole method of setting up your scenes and then switching and making sure that all those inputs are usable in there. And so I get it, but you have to just like cover all those bases. And but using StreamYard makes things really great for your interviews, and having the ability to go into OBS and then use all the overlays and things that you can do in OBS and pull that in as a virtual cam is great. And I've been doing that for several months, and it is really effective. But like anything though, it's learning your systems, your techniques, your scenes, how you set them up. But it should have been that easy, Samantha, to make that happen. And not saying it's that easy, but what it is you just do it more and more, and then you catch where you're missing your things. But I think you did great because you still made it happen and things moved forward. So I give you credit for that. And that's like, people don't realize how much is involved in streaming. And I think that anyone that just is going for it and fixing things on the fly and makes that happen, I give them props. And just to let you know, even when I was going to go live on Thursday for the first time, I was, 2 minutes before I'm starting, I'm fighting the tech battle myself. There was a problem with my stream key, and I had a feeling it was going to be that because it's something that I didn't usually do often because I was always adding my streams in through StreamYard, and I wasn't setting them up through through the studio like you can do now, right? Or if you're not using StreamYard. So I'm learning certain things that I haven't used a ton also. So I'm in the market for an overhead tripod for product review and tutorials. Is that one behind you? So behind that is that's a tripod, but that's not particularly for that. So there's a lot of ways to approach that. And I think that there's a lot of ways to approach that. And it's kind of like, you're going to have to decide how tall you want to be off. And if you're specifically looking for a tripod, that works. And if you're using it at like a desktop, because like right now, I'm actually, and I don't have my third camera set up to show you, but this little overhead I have at my desk here is basically, I have two monitors in front of me. You can see this pole right here, right? So I have this pole that goes up, and then really what it is I'm using the arms for a 4-monitor system, and I'm using the 2 upper arms with no VESA plates, and I attached an overhead cam. And so that's how I approach it for here on the desk. But if you're doing product reviews away from a different desk, you might want to approach that differently. But that's just the way I do it for here, and I'm using a ZV-1 as my overhead, and I absolutely love it. I do have a Ulanzi 16mm lens on this ZV-1 above me, which gives me a wider field of view. Otherwise, the view of the ZV-1 would be like this. So this opens it up to the whole desk. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I could show you more, but look how great this camera is. I mean, I could literally just throw something up here and it's instant as far as being able to focus on this, because that showcase ability of the ZV-1 in the software, boom, it just focuses in an instant. And that's the reason why I use it for my overhead, and I love it for that. But I'm going to double check all my scenes and make sure that the Yeti is set up. Yeah, and then and also, Samantha, don't forget, There's definitely, when you get into StreamYard, okay, and you go to put your name in, don't even put your name in yet. Go right into mic settings and camera. Let those mic camera settings adjust, because more than often I have to reset that page again. So I go up and I refresh that page again, and then I go and put my settings in. And then I might even have to, if it doesn't take, then I refresh that page again, and then the settings take. So that is always something too that is not perfect. I absolutely notice that sometimes I have to refresh that StreamYard page when I'm in there picking my mics and stuff out. And that was something that I learned, and I had to do that with Ecamm as a guest also. I've had to do that a few times where my camera wouldn't come in and my audio would, and I was like, why is it not working? And then I would go in and refresh that page that they would send me, and it would pull me in. So there's definitely, all those types of things that you're fighting against, because it's settings, it's your browser and all that type of stuff. So yeah, and that's what's so great. That's the showcase setting that's built into the new Sony ZV-1 and the ZV-E10. And when you're doing product showcases, and that's why you were just saying, like, I want to do product, reviews or anything. And I don't know, I saw you doing like the dresses the other night, Kombucha, and like, I don't know if you do like any kind of smaller kind of stuff, like cosmetics or anything, but like having that showcase view is like just amazing to be. I'm literally just holding it up just like this in front of me, and that's how fast it really just picks up. It's unbelievable. It's no matter where you are, just as long as you're closer to this, it will pick right up. And I love it. It just works great for that. And it's a nice clear picture. It's a great picture. It's a great camera if you're what you're using it for. And this Ulanzi lens that for $40 to $50, depending when you get it, look it up. It's a Ulanzi 16 millimeter. It screws on to the end, and you can adapt that on to your camera, your ZV-1, and that opens up your field of view. I have it on there all the time. People say they have problems with putting it on, and I just think it's a lot of time user errors. When you're adhering anything, you want to clean the surface, and then you want to make sure that when you adhere any 3M tape, you want to have it adhere for 24 hours before you use it, and then after 24 hours, then you can use it. I mean, I have the thing hanging upside down right now, and it's not even thinking of coming off. So if it comes off, I'll let you know, but it's been weeks on end right now where it's been upside down, and it's been working great. And like I'm telling you, is it gives you this wider view. Like if I took this lens off, it would capture, because I've taken it off before, it would capture about right here. And granted, for me to get more of a view of this desk, I would have to lift that camera up another foot. I'm about 3 feet off the desk now, or darn close to it, maybe 30 inches. And so this is a great reason to buy this lens, because the field of view just opens up to a 16, which is not 16. I think it's an 18 millimeter. But either way, it's opening it enough to be able to see the screen as well as you need to. And so I like it. Hi, Ash. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Working? Oh, today's Sunday. Nope, you're off today. So yeah, so I'm just, I jumped on here to start off with the Wave XLR and just some basic settings. And now I'm here just shooting the breeze with a couple questions that came in. And if there's any other questions that people want to ask about any kinds of tech, because it's just any kind of question. It doesn't have to pertain to what's above that we talked about already. So, oh, you are working. Yeah, I know how that goes. I have off the next week, so I'll be going away with the fam. And then I hope to jump onto Jeff's stream if everything goes as planned with what I take away on vacation, and I can get internet where I am. I will be jumping in and joining Jeff on the stream on Tuesday. Otherwise, it might be something that I might not be able to handle, but I'll be definitely on my stream on Thursday, that's for sure. How you doing, Martin? You dropped off the car and walked 2 miles back in the rain. Well, that's a drag. No one wants to do that. So now you're all wet. But you know what? Sometimes the rain can be refreshing. I don't know. I just noticed that I kind of like hate the rain being bald because there's something weird about when the raindrops hit your head when you're bald versus when you have hair. It's just a different feeling that I don't enjoy. But if I have a hat, then it's not so bad. So I know that. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about anything. And like I said, if there's anything else here, let me know, and I can address them in general. Art saying, thanks, John. I'm going to look into the Wave or something similar to save desk real estate. If things pick up the Rodecaster Pro for field work, yeah, and that's exactly what I think I'm gonna do. Art too is like I don't want to get rid of it because it's so effective for the things outside of streaming, and this Wave XLR is really just one of the two things that are available because it's either that or you're gonna go to a Go XLR. I just want you to let you know though, Art, that if you're like me and how like myself and Jeff are, and we wanted physical sliders to be able to adjust the sound, we might have a solution for that coming up. I actually have something on order, and if that resolves the issue, we'll have 4 separate sound inputs coming off of the Wave software and being able to use it in a slider fashion. We won't have to tab out into the software and make those adjustments on the screen. And so I mean, it's not like, it's another $100 we'll be spending. So it's cost of, it does cost some money. But for me, for everything to work the way I want it to, I'm willing to spend the money on that. So, hey, it's a lovely evening. Walk along the river, but you're right about the rain on a bald head. Yeah, that's just, yeah. I tell people, like, I still remember having hair, even though it was so long ago. I literally shaved my head for the first time bald. I was 17 years old. And before that, I had like a very short crew cut for a lot of years. And but then I did grow my hair out in my mid-20s, so I had very long hair. And then at that point, I do remember what it feels like. Okay, I think I know what you're referring to. Yeah, so that would be it's going to be the PC panel, if you know what that is. So it's going to act as a MIDI controller, and then we're going to go from there with it. But I just want to see, because I have not seen anyone directly using it with the Wave XLR. I know of people wanting to use it, but I don't know anybody or haven't seen anybody personally have any info on it. I just want to see how effective it works hand in hand, and then go from there with it. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, but that's it. If there's Samantha, just go through, if you're still watching, just go through the settings, make sure everything's set up, and then even do some more testing. Like even if it's by yourself and you have another phone or camera in the house, you can have someone away on it and just make sure that the sound is coming through on both sides. And hey, the struggle is real with having guests on too. So when they don't have a great mic, or they don't have they're not using their headphones properly, that's always a little bit of a struggle too. But that's why you just kind of talk about it beforehand with them and just say, the better you sound, the better we can make things work. It all flows together. Because I don't think, I noticed that when I watched it, it wasn't just your end either. There was some issues going on with her sound coming through. And then also, it goes back to the huge too, is the internet struggling on one side or the other, and we don't know that totally too. So there's just so many factors with streaming, and that's what people don't realize. Like when you jump on here and people see me, talking and everything's fluid, and you'll notice a lot of time they'll say to me is like, wow, you just keep talking. There's no there's no like looking for words, and it's work. It's work. There are things I'm looking at in the stream to make sure that my, the questions that come in get addressed. I hit them up in a certain way, knowing like, if you've watched some other people's streams, sometimes they pop everything on the screen, and it's like sometimes part of it is just communication between the chat that's going on in the chat. And so you don't have to pop those things up, but they just like go straight down the line. Don't read ahead. I try to read ahead and see what it makes sense to put on the screen, what isn't making sense to put on the screen, and then making sure that everything flows the way it should. Audio sounds right, and all those things. So it's a work in progress, like even just when I talked about setting up your sounds and your background music and how much that comes in, how much it doesn't, and all those things. So like even coming in and listening to this right now, it's nice for me to know, like, I'll be able to go back in the stream and just see what I thought it was going to sound like it is where the music sounds like. And so this is good feedback for me also. But that's about it, guys. So if there's nothing else to really talk about or to address, I want to thank everybody who came in on the stream. I appreciate that. And have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy it. I'm going to head out, and I'm going to be on a few days of vacay. I hope to catch people on JA's stream. That's going to be Tuesday at 9 p.m. JA Smith. And then I'll be over on my channel. Don't forget, that's going to be on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And so these are the things too that I'm trying to learn also, because I actually have a streamer that I could just pop up and I wouldn't have to say those things. But that's the learning curve, right? I could have just had that rolling so people could see it, and then it would help out. So it's a learning curve for me too. Yeah, thanks, Martin. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in, and keep on plugging away at those videos. We all are. And we enjoy it, and I can see that we all have a good time, and I want to continue having a good time with everything. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it again. Like I said, I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping in to Coffee Talk and Tech, and have a great day. Enjoy.